Hey y'all, grown black folks talk, back out on the climb on the kind of day that I don't often video on, but that suits my mood. A beautiful early autumn day, not a lot of autumn color out here, but you're doing to notice as the year goes on, when you do have fogs, you have impact from weather systems that are approaching or passing nearby, and the fog slowed down at the ground, but it's not winter, we just came out of summer. So there's still some warmth in the atmosphere. So at the same time, you will have thick fog flowing all the way down to the ground and some moisture. And yet at the same time, it will be warm enough to be comfortable. I've got a little bit more on. I've got a little bit more of my early winter wear on today, but it is a beautiful day for what it is. I wanted to follow up on my video this morning because there was aspects I did not discuss because I don't have to as a single woman. I do not have to discuss trying to be in a relationship while going through extremes that are transcendent in their intensity. It continued today. There's no end in sight. When you reach a level where things are both so amazing and so amazing in all directions, there's no calling a halt to that. I have had another very bad experience, and I will have another very good one this evening, Lord willing. Provided, well, I'm going to make it my business to be at that meeting, because I know what I'm doing at this point. I'm trying to make sure, again, that we can do this thing of making sure black women have a chance to be at the front of the crypto bull run and not the back, like we were at the back of the housing crisis and carried 60% of the brunt. I still not as composed as I normally am. I have to be careful. But what I want to talk about is the freedom of not having to be in a relationship right now with all of the previous options. No matter how much I love them and they love me, these were not bad men. As black men go, I've never associated with a man. As white men go, I've never associated with a man. I don't associate with people who would be openly like that because I know that's not the page I'm on. I have good standards to compare people to. But what I want to talk about is just the realization. When you have 10 days like this one, and I could have said this before that, but I could have said this at any time up to after age 39. When you really begin to tap into the power you actually do have as a human being, without regard to all the structures around you that are meant to make you feel powerless. And what I mean is, yes, the United States is about to go on a government shutdown, and that's going to affect 100 million people if they can't find a way out of it. And there's probably no way for the children that we have running the Republican Party to find a way out of it. So that's going to affect 100 million people. But the fact that I am able to move powerfully around the people around me means I don't have to sit around and be worried about that. When you are not worried, when others are worried because you have tapped into the power that you have, when you have made the associations necessary to move in that kind of circle. When you have yielded your life as a blessing to the Lord God Almighty, to the point that you can get up on a day and He said, I'm going to drop you some information and I want you to get it to people. About, again, moving people from the back of what they would be into the front. When you have that, why would you link up with anyone? And this is not a question of race. Why? And I'll get into it why. Let me do that first. We're all human. But how far would I have to fall at my big age knowing better to be linked up with a man who thinks he belongs to everyone else, whether Republicans or Democrats? He thinks Republicans and Democrats control his future. He thinks that other people in the economy control his future, although the access to the same information I have is out there. I found out a lot of things on YouTube and then going and doing research, but YouTube is available. If you're listening to me, it's available. Why would I submit my life to be run by a man who is convinced of his own powerlessness? Why would I, at this point, submit to a man who has accepted artificial limits when I know and am walking daily in the reality those limits all the way up to the foolery that goes to do with running this country do not exist. Now, we should happen to get into a real societal collapse. Then we will have to look at, okay, that's a human limit, because people are going to be out of control at that point and doing whatever they can that makes them feel that they can survive and feel better about doing that. That's a whole different thing than folks just going back and forth because even their own witnesses are like, well, yeah, we can't find a reason to impeach the president. So that's a different level. Now, at that point, I have to be concerned because I've got to make different decisions about how I secure the people who are important to me. Along with, of course, myself being, I got to make different decisions then. That's a different calculation. But there's a different calculation between responding to real challenges and then being terrorized and tyrannized by people who cannot even control their own behavior, much less, you have a whole Republican representative with handsy behavior in a public movie theater. They cannot even control their own perversions live. Like they gonna control me. There's a whole Democratic senator, and my condolences to her family, who just thought that she was going to stay in office and was not going to leave, and woke up wherever she prepared her soul to be, and she has now left office. My condolences to the Feinstein family, of course, if any of you should happen to hear this. I'm not making light of the fact that that is a big loss, but for the rest of us, who would like to be ruled well, some things have to be said. But dead or alive, Dianne Feinstein wasn't running nothing over here. She will not even so much as feature, although again, if we wanted a transcendent discussion of the good, the bad, and the ugly, given that she became mayor 3 years before I was born, I can talk about that if I wish to, but I do not. We will let that family have peace and rest, because again, it's not relevant. So why then would I engage my life and even think of submitting to a man who is going to put his energy into complaining, not learning, not growing, not transcending? A man who thinks everyone else is the author of his fate. Look, this is also the epitome of being a faithless man. Because if you are a faithful man in the Most High God, you know you answer to one person. And that one person can use all these other people to get done for you and your family what must be done for you and your family. In the same way that same Most High God can protect all the seniors I'm concerned with. As that same Most High God can choose a maidservant who asked him, Lord, show me a way into crypto 4 years ago. And not only show her a way, but show her how to open that way for other people at the front, not the back of the cycle. And I didn't ask, all I asked was for a way that I could be able to understand it. And all the rest, because I submitted myself to him. I did not even ask to be involved with senior housing, but someone else who loved the Lord was looking for someone who he could trust and could work with. And he found me, and I said yes. Not knowing that this day would come. Not even able to conceive it. In fact, I'm sitting here. Like I said, yesterday was such a blend of good and bad. Today is going to be such a blend of good and bad. I will not pretend that I cannot comprehend, that I can process all this. It will take a week, a month, and I've got things to do. I have a whole book launch to get ready at the same time. So this might be my winter downtime to just catch up with all this. But see, our elders also said the Lord is a mind fixer and a heart regulator. The fact that I cannot be utterly taken away today with grief and loss and pain and panic, pride and delirious joy, at the same time trying to sit in this little head. I have a big forehead and a pretty good brain. No, it's too much. Is a testimony to the power of God in Christ. For he said, be anxious for nothing, but with prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your request be known to God, and the peace of God, which passes all understanding, will keep your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. Said somewhere along in Philippians 3, and I can testify that is the truth. So why then would I link myself up with any human being I'm going to deal with the men, but I'm going to come back to the women in a minute, who do not understand what this means. Why would I have a man who does not understand how to get himself and those concerned to the heights that I have enjoyed, nor would know how to hold me or let me hold him in the lows that go with this? Why would I expose myself to come down, body, soul, and spirit, for a gentleman who has no means to understand what this is about? And see, this is the most frightening thing that oppressors will ever hear. If black women in this country begin to understand what I understand on a daily basis, then our ability to be ground up and made chattel and made afraid and made to be used and manipulated and hurt will end. But before we even get out to that level, when we talk about oppressors, we're not talking about one color of people. I'm not a bigot. We've been talking for a long time, black male billionaires with the temerity. We've spent about a week talking about that. Black Christian hosts with the temerity to let other black men come and blame their mamas for their lives. We got some people that support oppression in our own community. And to my transcendence, there are even a few black women. The number's not a few either. We have people who are dedicated to their own weakness. We have people who are dedicated to their own destruction. We have people who are absolutely dedicated to not having the occasion to rise to the heights that are possible, although the lows that are indescribable are still coming also. That's going to happen. That's just part of life that can't be avoided. As I said on the previous video, as a black woman, you live in a society here. This is why Stephanie Perry and Picky Girl Travels the World, Adelia Border-Sade, and Rashida Dollar just are saying, okay, we're done here. We out. Why are we out? Because this is ridiculous. We're not about to do this with y'all. No. That's why. And we have a choice. We can put as much distance, when you understand that you can put as much distance between yourself and foolery as you want. When you understand that you can put yourself with as much distance between yourself and foolery as you want, no matter what anybody else has to think about that. Then you begin to come into the part of your life where you truly can begin to transcend. I have a subscriber to the channel. Transmuted Living has some amazing things on the channel. I have a number of women who are in this process. I watched my video about Level Up Single Mom and about how she with dignity was able to define to me, number one, I can't do anything for Tory Lane's wife. She does not have a palate, but thank you for mentioning to me. In other words, very gently checking me like, no, don't put me up in that. We're not demeaning anyone, but no, that person couldn't find my value, but thanks. That was a valuable lesson for me. Alicia Renese, the artist, is one of the reasons I was able to come out here and not be mad at myself, because I'm just not physically able to do all the walking that I would. I'm not mentally able to even do that. The body is just under too much strain. When you don't get enough sleep, I did pretty well last night, thank God. Thank God. When you learn that you can be grateful for every experience that you have, because nothing good is promised to you except that what you are granted under common and special grace. That's a different video. We might do a Bible study on that sometime. Common grace is not a well understood topic in a society where people are trying to compare themselves with other people and make chattel of other people. Of course, it's not an understood topic. And then special grace is not understood anywhere except that those that know about it. And when I say special grace, I mean that which comes from Jesus Christ. Common grace covers everything else, though. But it is a common and a special grace to be able to sleep at a time like this. But if you're not sleeping physically, if you're not sleeping well, you're not regenerating. I know the difference between 1 hour and another one. Being an hour short versus getting enough versus making up for some lost time. I can feel that in my body today. There is some improvement. But I also know if I overdo it, nope, not today. But Alicia Renese, the artist, is one of the reasons why I can just sit here, not having walked as far as I normally would, but just enjoy the beautiful fresh air and watching the fog flow through the gaps. Let me show y'all. By my favorite statue for windbreak. This is my view for me. Enjoying being shielded from the greatest of the wind, enjoying the sweet scented cool moisture at the same time, and just enjoy a moment of peace, some of which I am sharing with you. And when I say peace, I do have the peace of past understanding to be in an environment. I'm really a Baptist Lutheran at heart, to the extent that like traditional Germany post 20th century, I really am someone who needs to be involved with nature, trees, ground, water signs. That's a necessity. It's part of the way that being able to connect with the greatness of common grace, in terms of being able to say how great thou art with the creator who made it all, and to be, as an artist, surrounded by natural beauty is necessary. But some days I need to come out and enjoy it and not overstress, and this is one of those. Learning how to walk in ways in which no other could have guided me, no man, no woman, to be able to walk with the creator of all things to this point, good and bad, happy and sad, up and down, to be able to be competent. Don't think I'm rambling too badly. And to not be burdened. There is a content creator, and I agree with 90% of what she says, though, so I'm not going to put her down. You do have to be called. Most people have a greater need for companionship than I have. And that's okay. We're human beings. We have that in us because human beings need to reproduce and so be here. There's nothing wrong with that. That's why I say I agree with 90% of what she says. But she overlooked, she had the temerity to say you don't need Jesus or another job, you need a man. Well, no. Jesus, through the power of the Holy Spirit working through the Apostle Paul, said, nope, it's actually better for you in times of distress to be single. And he said, as much to the single man as to the single woman, I'm trying to spare you some trouble. I understand what Paul means. She did not mention that as part of her analysis, but I'm going to just put that out of there for those of you that are single. And I'm beginning to have the feeling that, okay, maybe that's the best thing for me right now. That is correct. Now, I'm not saying that from the position that I'm in today, that I would be opposed, should the Lord permit that it happen, to meet a man who knows what I know, who is not overly concerned about what everybody else is doing. I know black men who are like that. They're kind of thin in my age group, but what we have gotten accomplished over the last 2 days, last 10 days, getting ready for the shutdown, having been prepared since the last shutdown, getting prepared since the last actual shutdown. I know that these men exist in all colors. Historically, the analog to this is Ulysses S. Grant, who, upon assuming command of the Army of the Potomac, told his junior officers, I don't want to hear one more word about what you think Robert E. Lee is going to do. What we're going to do from here is focus on what we're going to do. 9 months later, the war was over. He won. As I've talked before about a champion, there are champions, men and women. So it's not like there's laws. Black men that I work with, my board president, the board members, some of whom, are older men in ill health, but made it their business to call in and ask the right questions and vote on things that were necessary, that are working together with women in harmony and getting smack done. If the Lord has a man like that out there for me, I would not be opposed to that. But I steel myself to the reality that that's all I need. Because I know the life that I have to live. I am 42. I have yet to go through the loss of parents and this generation of elders whom I love so dearly. I have yet to go through. There will be more transcendent highs and more transcendent lows. Any man who would husband me has got to be ready. And since I was not able to choose such men for myself, not knowing before age 39, even what I would have to be looking for, I am content to be single until the Lord sends him to me as I move in the environments that I will be moving in the next several years. Good and sometimes bad. I am content for him to make that choice for me. I don't have to bear the burden of choose better. I know someone who can do that for me. And that he reveal me to that man and reveal that man to me. And if it does not occur, all I would have missed is being linked up in a permanent way to foolery. That's all I would have missed. I do not consent. I will not consent to be defined and connected with foolery. I got enough trouble with the person you see and I get to see in the mirror on that subject. Do not want to add any more to my life. And I'm not even done this week in having to let some people know I've got some more. I may put it off till next week, give myself a little bit of chance. But this is how it's going to be. And I am delighted and relieved to be single. Before you can make a good partnership with someone else, you need to know who you are and what you're called to do. And what you are capable of. And what I am capable of and called to do will not allow me to be aligned with a man who has no idea what I am even talking about. I have said that aloud so that you may know that you also can make the same decisions. Y'all have a good day now. I'm going to sit here for a little bit longer. I feel good right now, physically. It's very refreshing here. I'm going to sit here a little bit longer. And then I have a meeting that I have to get to in. Check the time. Yeah, I got a meeting to get to in under 2 hours. So I'm going to get back to the house. Get ready for that. And then plan for myself a quiet and restful evening. And then tomorrow we may get a little further afield. We may get to a little bit further afield. That we may get up. I got to check on my figs up on the hill at some point. Even if I have to ride halfway up and then climb the other half and then ride halfway down. I may go to the Fuchsia Dell tomorrow. And I also do have a desire, although it's hard to make a video there because of the noise, I have a longing for the ocean. But I might also go by some of the park, more of the parks, or go get park lakes. Don't know. We're also going to see what I feel like when I get up too. So, y'all have a good day now. Again, these videos are more of a personal nature. I am somewhat behind on the internet goings on. I'm probably going to stay behind for a while. But I wanted to share these thoughts with you. That again, you may know that you also do not need permission to stand in your own power. That you do not need permission to do that which you are called to do. And to not be entangled with people who are not ready, nor willing, nor able. You may cut them loose. And you may choose to stay where you are until the right connections are provided to you. Y'all have a good day. Good night.